Chris Rogers and Owen Morgan both hit big hundreds as Middlesex dominated the opening day of their important LV County Championship clash with Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge. Morgan's 174 not out was the highest championship score of his career. Chris Reed's decision to field after winning the toss backfired on him, with Rogers dominating an opening partnership of 60 in 14 overs with David Milan. The new ball didn't have the desired effect as far as knots were concerned, but Andre Adams did at least manage to bowl Milan after he'd made 17. Neil Dexter was in at number 3 but lasted only 8 balls before he edged Harry Gurney to Ricky Vessels with the score on 61 for 2. Rogers has not made a big score for a short while, but here he looked in extremely good form, with his shots more often than not finding the gaps. It would have been a worry for the home side when he eased to his 5th half-century of the summer off 77 balls and innings containing 8 fours. He's made a habit of turning such starts into big scores, some of them very big in fact, and that's why by the end of this innings he was back on top of the run-scoring tree in the First Division this year. Reed would not have surprised many by inserting. The start had been delayed because of rain, some warm rain at that, in conditions that were fairly muggy. It appeared that those conditions were ideal for bowling in, but that didn't turn out to be the case, as Morgan and Rogers started a very large partnership for the 3rd wicket. It would have been different had Vessels, who'd been capped before this match along with Gurney and Luke Fletcher, not spilled a regulation chance at first slip to give Morgan a life on 20. Then in the next over, Samit Patel let an edge off Rogers' bat slip through his hands to deny Peter Siddle a wicket. Rogers was on 89 at the time and closing in on his 3rd 100 of the season. That duly arrived in the afternoon, but in rather fortuitous circumstances, as an inside edge off Fletcher just missed the stumps on the way to the boundary. Of Rogers' 17 fours, that was the least convincing, but he'd reached 3 figures off 131 balls against a home attack which was by no means at its best. Morgan soon followed to his 50 with a typical shot from the Irishman, which brought him 3 runs off Patel to take the batsman to a half-century for the 3rd time this year for his county. His had come off 84 deliveries and had contained 8 fours, but for him it was merely a start to what was his best ever innings in this competition. This was not what Notts were expecting to happen. Both batsmen were playing exceptionally well by now in what was a big game between two sides who were very much in the title frame. Middlesex started this match in 3rd place, 9 points behind the leaders Somerset, while Notts were 1 place and 8 further points behind. Either side could be topped by the end of this round of games. Already that was looking to be difficult for the home side as Morgan went after Patel, striking him for a couple of maximums on his way to his 2nd ton of the summer. Rogers was also playing very positively by this stage, as well as Notts were struggling to stay in the game even at this early point. At least they knew that the pitch was playing well. Siddle, Fletcher and Patel all went in excess of 4.5 runs per over during the day as Morgan took the partnership with his captain into the 200s, 2 batting bonus points already in the bag. Rogers made it to his 2nd score of 150 or more this season with an easy single off Siddle, the Middlesex man winning the battle between the 2 Australian Test stars. Rogers had needed 194 balls for this one, from which he'd by now struck 88 of his runs in boundaries alone. A drive through the covers for just a single then took Morgan to his 100. It was a top knock from a man who's clearly not given up on returning to the England Test team should any opportunities arise. He'd needed 137 balls for this, from which he'd found the boundary rope on 15 occasions while clearing it twice. Before tea, this pair passed the Middlesex record partnership for the 3rd wicket against his opposition. That had been previously set by Owe Shah and Ed Joyce. It was 225 9 summers ago. Absolutely nothing was going right for Nottinghamshire. Rogers was dropped again in the deep off Adams, while Morgan moved to the best championship score of his career, beating the 137 he made against Gloucestershire some 6 years ago. Rogers meanwhile looked set for his 2nd double 100 of the season. He'd reached 180 out of a score of 333, with this being his 26th 4. That took the stand to 272, made in 55 overs. The opener was finally dismissed with an uppercut that took a good low catch at deep point from James Taylor to at last end this very handsome partnership. Patel was being toyed with at times by Morgan. This superb shot carried the batsman to his 150, which had used up just 186 deliveries. 24 fours and 2 sixes had been included in that. Aside from Morgan and Rogers, no other Middlesex man made a score. With his second delivery with the second new ball, Siddle had Joe Denley held by Patel on 18. Morgan then took the total into the 400s to earn Middlesex maximum batting bonus points on the very first day of this contest, before Siddle comprehensively bowled John Simpson for 10, half an hour before the late close. By the end of the day, Morgan had moved on to a wonderful 174 not out, and with Paul Stirling at the other end making a steady 10, Middlesex closed in a very good position on 417 for 5 from 96 overs. Nottinghamshire will hope that the punishment they faced on day one won't continue long into the second day, a day where Morgan will be dreaming of a maiden championship double 100.